on the latest Buffone 55.
I wanted to ask you about the $130 million man, Jared Goff, because Bears fans vividly remember that Week 13 performance in the 2018 season. He was sacked 3 times, threw 4 picks. But after that, kind of up and down for Jared Goff, getting high praise and then also being doubted sometimes. So among the Rams faithful, are they happy with the contract and the situation they have at quarterback?
Yeah, you mentioned that Bears game, and I think for people who really follow the Rams closely or follow the NFL closely, that was a big game because even though the Rams ended up going to the Super Bowl that year, that was the first game where a team really put together a defensive game plan that really, truly kind of stifled the Rams. I mean, they had their moments here and there where they struggled a little bit, but that was the first time a team had put together a full 60-minute game plan and executed it where you just went, wow, they really, really took the air out of the Rams' tires. And I think that it certainly carried over to the Super Bowl. I think it carried over to a lot of 2019 to where the Rams really had to re-envision things a little bit because of the way teams were starting to defend them, to take away certain things, the way that they pressured Jared Goff. I think Sean McVay had to reimagine a lot of that. So it's relevant to your question because I think so far this season they've done a better job with that. They had rolled Jared out a little bit more, for instance, even though you don't think of him as being a particularly athletic quarterback. He does seem to thrive when he can kind of get out of that pocket a little bit and roll out and find his tight end or find Robert Woods on a crossing pattern or something like that. So they've done a little bit better job with that kind of play action. And the other thing is their offensive line has played a lot better this year than it did last year. So that certainly has been a big help to Jared. He was a little bit shaky in this past week's game. He had looked pretty darn good over the first four games, and I think it's taken a lot of stride. So I think this will be a good bounce-back game. Jared admitted himself that this past week's loss was his worst game of the season. I agree. I don't think he cost them the game by any means. I also don't think he was as sharp as he needed to be. So I would look for him to have this is going to be a very important bounce-back game against what, as we know, has traditionally been a pretty tough defense against the Rams.
Buffone 55, the John Buffone Show with Alyssa Barbieri, only on the Barroom Network.